Hello, this is Jenny Fern, and today I'm going to share with you a tour of my permaculture garden in California, Zone 9B. I live in a suburban lot, 1950s house, so let's get into it. It's been a little bit of a while since I've posted a video, and I have some new subscribers, so thank you so much for doing that. It's kind of nice. I'm not talking out into the abyss. So this is behind my back fence. There's a little bit of space before there's a drainage ditch, and then there's a freeway on the other side. So, I live in a normal place. Okay, so there's this stray cat. He's sleeping under the plum tree. And then I have two trees that I planted out from, this is an apple from seed. I just mowed back here. The grass got pretty tall because it's springtime now. I mulched around the apple tree, and I put down cardboard. The cardboard was already there to keep down the grass, and it's done a pretty good job. So I've planted some cardoon back here recently, so I was checking up on my cardoon seedlings. This is a grape that was planted by a bird, and I don't know if it's going to produce grapes. I'd be really curious about it, but I pruned it a little bit, and now it's springing back up to life, so it looks beautiful. Really happy about that. And then these are some baby plums. The blossom and stuff was quite a while ago. I don't know if I filmed any of that. I don't know if last time they probably didn't exist. I'm not sure. Sorry, I've been so busy just working. And then this is a fig cutting. And then on my weekends and in my free time, I just want to garden without having to worry so much about filming. So also I lost the little clip that attaches the camera to the tripod. So I really need to buy another tripod so that I can set things up without it interrupting my actual workflow. So you can see here I mulched down with the grass from me trimming back here. I'd stuck some rose and some grape cuttings back here earlier, and you can see that the rose cuttings took. The grape cuttings don't look like they've taken. I just planted this out. This is a Perennial Kale, I think. It's either a kale or a collard, and I've planted that cutting out. It had a great root system. I posted a picture on my Instagram. I have a new Instagram. Excuse me. Sorry. I have a new Instagram. It's called Permaculture.Jen. Here's one of those cardoons. It's getting a little bit munched on, but we'll see if it pulls through. If it doesn't, it's no big deal. Here's another cardoon. I've really started getting into cardoon. It's kind of a pain to prepare, but it's delicious. It's basically like artichoke flavor, and you get quite a lot of like food out of it. So it's pretty worth it. Oh yeah. So I made an Instagram. It's called Permaculture.Jen. And I've been posting more on there because it's honestly lower effort. There's a pea. My peas aren't doing so well over here. It's too shady. So they're kind of doing some crazy stuff. They also got way taller than I thought. For some reason, I thought that they would grow peas before they got that tall, but they didn't. My palm tree is doing pretty well now. I'm not sure why, but since the last time I took a picture, it's doing quite well. I also have hyacinths. Those came up. I think I missed all of the spring bulbs pretty much since I didn't film. Here's a lavender cutting. It's doing pretty well. I think it might get a little bit bigger this summer, I'm hoping. And here's a olive that I grew from a cutting. The main part of the cutting died, but then it grew that from the root of it, I guess. Bunch of fava beans in this area. They're all putting off flowers. They don't have a ton of beans on them yet, but they're doing okay. This area is kind of shady, especially in the winter because of that big oak tree. And then I got radishes all over the place. Here's a rose. This hasn't grown very much since I planted it, especially compared to the ones in the front yard, which are now full-on bushes, and they were all planted at the same time. This is a Coyote Brush, and it was grown from a seed, kind of on accident. But I really like it. It's a California native, and it has these big, they're not really showy. They're not big. Sorry. It has these poofy flowers. And yeah, I'm excited about it. I think it's getting a little bit leggy because, again, it's pretty shady over here. And it's got these really big, lush leaves because it's winter. So it's kind of got a little bit of rain. It's definitely a drought-tolerant plant. Yeah, some more of the rose cuttings. Again, not growing very much. Maybe because of the shade and maybe because this area wasn't mulched at all for so long. It's finally starting to get, like, a good, healthy system to it, I feel like. Here's an apple tree that I planted out last year, a while ago, maybe even before that. I planted this out, and it's obviously doing the worst, I think, because I didn't water it at all. In the summer, it gets very dry and hot over in this corner of the yard, and then in winter, all winter, it's shady, which doesn't really affect the apples because apples don't put on leaves, but it's also shady in general. So it's shady, and then it gets really dry and hot. This is a tree that was planted by a bird. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's probably like a plum. And I haven't tended to it at all. I'm just kind of waiting to see what it turns into. I don't want to have to water it because it's kind of an inconvenient spot. Here are cleavers. I just learned recently that the seeds of these you can kind of use as like a coffee because it has like a low level of caffeine in it. So I'm going to try that this year. I made some cleavers tea, like dried out the plants themselves and turned that into a tea blend with some mint and calendula. I didn't realize this had caffeine in it though, but I bet the leaves don't have very much in it. My grapes are starting to wake up. You could see the one in the back was a lot more alive than these ones. This one has more sun over here, so I think it's more awake than the one closer to the fence is like fully shaded out right now, and it's like still totally asleep. Here's my peach tree grown from seed. It is springing to life right now. It's got a lot of new growth. It's very beautiful. I'm very excited for it. I hope it grows a lot this year. These are some perennial collard cuttings. I don't know if it's going to take. It seems kind of dried out. Another hyacinth. And then we have our pansies, and I had a Granny Smith seedling in that little planter tub there. And then I left for like an extended weekend, and when I came back, I think a bird ate it or something. There was like a leaf still there, but the plant was gone. There's another apple tree seedling. It has a rose grown from a cutting. That cutting's more recent than the ones in that other little guild area over there. Here's another rose. I just stuck a bunch in when I pruned my roses, and they pretty much all of them took. This is a mulberry tree. I know I've gone through all of this before, but you can see now it has like leaves on it. It actually leafed out, and then there was like a 28-degree night, which is pretty cold for us. I actually lost the new growth on my orange tree as well, so that was kind of sad. I even covered the orange tree, and it wasn't enough. But imagine if I didn't cover it. There are so many ladybugs in my yard right now because there are so many aphids in my yard right now. There's a lot. There's a lot of aphids, especially on the fava beans and on the artichokes, which I'll show you later. Here's my apricot, nice and lush as well. It has some beautiful growth. It was grown from seed. Pansies. Oh, I also showed I have more lavender and stuff that I'm trying to get to, trying to get it to propagate. I think it's a little bit slow growing. Either that or it hasn't really actually taken root in the ground. Here's my calendula. If I wanted to use it for tea, I should really harvest some because there's a ton right now. But I do also want it to go to seed so I can spread it around. Here's just some, the vine, ivy or whatever. Here I got distracted trying to find a ladybug because there were two. Here's my mature apricot tree. You can tell it's kind of dying, but here you can see there's some apricots forming on it, so I'm really excited for that. I love the apricots. They're such a treat. They do have some little worms in them, but it's not that big of a deal, especially because they're so easy to split in half and you can just take them out. That's some garlic. I don't know. This bed's kind of abandoned. Here's my old cauliflower and perennial collard, purple colored. It's gone to seed. Here's another one, and it went to seed. I'm excited about that. Plenty of seed to harvest. It'll be good. Broccoli, that's gone to seed. My dog loves eating on the broccoli florets. That broccoli's been there for like 2 years. Here is a pea. And my humongous patch of chard, which I made a huge breakfast this morning with a ton of chard. So that's freshly harvested. Did you see that potato that was popping up there? That's kind of a fun treat, especially because it's raining right now as we speak, which is great, because it hasn't rained that much this winter. I guess it did rain in like one storm. It rained a lot, and then it hasn't really rained that much since. Here's radishes going to seed. See how big and thick this radish was. So I'm really excited to spread those round black Spanish radishes in more spots of the yard, just like I had all of the daikons everywhere. Again, some more peas. I don't show this in the front yard. I do like a speed run through the front yard, but I have a ton of peas growing up the fence. You can see, look at all of those ladybugs eating all of those aphids. And I have the fava beans that are kind of maturing. This is the sunny side of the yard. So there's, everything's bolted. And then the fava beans are more mature over here than they are in other places. I've finally got these calendulas blooming over here, which is great. Love to get a little bit more color around in different spots of the yard, especially during winter. The calendula blooms in winter here. So it adds a little bit of fun. The artichokes on this side yard are becoming artichokes. They're kind of small. These are all pups, and they're a little bit small. We had 2. I harvested 2, and we had them for dinner the other night. They are getting a little bit buggy. I still have some in the freezer from last year. Probably like 2 gallon bags of them I have to get through still. But it was nice to eat the fresh ones because they're nicer. You can see the ladybug larva on this fava bean here. And then I put a little apple tree here, apple tree seedlings. I still have 1 to plant out somewhere. I put another one in the front yard this morning. And then I planted out this fig cutting. It actually looks like it might turn into a tree, which I'm excited about because the other ones are kind of stunted and sad. I'm pretty sure we're past our last frost date now. I've been starting seedlings like mad, and then I'm just going to check the weather to make sure there's nothing weird freak coming up, but I'm pretty sure we're past it. This is either a plum or some stone fruit. It's doing amazingly. As you can see, it's a big old bush. And then that was an apple tree, which only has a couple leaves on it right now. I don't know. It's kind of in a shady spot, so I guess we'll just wait. This side bed, I just mulched with all of the grass that I cut earlier in the morning. It's mostly these are like tree mallow, and then it's got some flowers in here. There's a pea growing in there, but it kind of flopped over. It's not doing so well. This is kind of a weedy mess, and then I got the roses that I've got to trim a little bit because they have a bunch of stuff growing up from the base of them. So I'll propagate those again probably, maybe along the back fence to make it really nice and pretty. I already have a bunch of roses in the front yard, so I don't think we need that many. Here's my little propagation area where I have willow that I actually took from a Valentine's bouquet. So I have a bunch of willow cuttings that rooted from this bouquet that I got. And then you can see there's the grape cuttings that are now leafing out, but they don't have any roots. So that's kind of strange. I'm not sure how that's going to go. I have been plugging some of them into the ground, so we'll see if they'll root. And then I'll have more grapes all over the place, which would be super cool. Here is another apricot. That one I didn't really pay any attention to at all for the longest time, and it hasn't really been mulched until this winter. And then some really overgrown grass and rosebush and fava beans still doing just fine despite how overgrown it is. I've got to weed this area. And then we have my first California poppy opening up. They've been opened up all over in different parts of town and the county. but mine are in the shade, so they haven't opened up yet. So now we're in the front yard. Here's a rose bush. There's calendula. Isn't that great? A bunch of radishes gone to seed. They're kind of in the path. The radishes are absolutely insane up here. Here's a fennel in a pot in a wheelbarrow. My strawberry patch is got a lot of flowers on it. There's a little ladybug larva thingy that's gonna turn into a ladybug soon. And there's all of these little baby strawberries. So I really hope that there's gonna be a good batch of strawberries this year. That was one of the grape cuttings. We'll see if it lasts. I think that's a collard that's gone to seed. And then we have, again, just food everywhere. It's amazing. It's so easy too. I've really not, I mean, I work in the garden all the time, but it's not like I'm tending to everything all the time, you know? So that's another California poppy, an apple tree that I planted out there. And then I had a rosemary that I planted out there. And you can see there's onions all over the place. I just planted this rose out earlier today. Again, all of these fava beans and more onions. And you know what's cool about the onions? I can harvest if like a clump of them are growing together. I can harvest just the one and leave the rest in there. Then they go to seed. Maybe I'll get some onions growing from seed. And then I could also just have them keep splitting apart. So I don't have to plant onions again. Ever, I don't think. As long as this goes well this year, we'll see. I've been starting to harvest some of them. See this rose bush? It's about to explode in roses. I'm so excited. I grew that from a cutting. And not that long ago either. I mean, I guess it's like 2 years now, but, you know. You can see how tall my garden is right now. This rose bush is completely obscured by all of the radishes. It looks kind of ridiculous. So this whole front yard bit I did pretty quickly because my battery was running low on my camera. So it was also about to rain, so I was kind of getting spit on by the rain, you know. There's a fennel going to seed, and my lavender is going to flower, which is nice. So yeah, anyway, I don't know why other people don't grow onions like that. Maybe it's the type of onion that I have that they like. I guess, are they bunching onions? I don't even know. Here you can see my orange is going to flower. It had a lot more beautiful growth on it and more flower buds, but they froze, you know, so that's how it goes. Again, how tall my garden is. See from, you know, this little corner, kind of what it looks like. It's crazy. So anyway, let's go back to the backyard. This little area, this little side area is kind of unused. It's very shady, but it gets very hot here in summer. So I'm not entirely sure what to grow there. I bought a bunch of stuff from an online nursery because they had good deals. And I bought some hostas. So we'll see if I can possibly grow some hostas. I've never grown any before. And then here's the view of the backyard from this little side garden bit. You can see a ton of it is still lawn. This main area that's closest to the backyard, to the back door, is where we play with our dog. And that's basically my zone 1. So, and then I forgot to turn the camera off. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. And yeah, just thank you. Have a great day.